Okay, I have an amazing effect to show you that will make you look like an absolute wizard, okay? So hopefully I'll be successful here, and then I can teach you how it is I developed this amazing skill to pull off the performance we're going to now show you. So what you need for this is 2 sets of 4 cards consisting of face cards, 2 sets of 4 cards consisting of number cards. Okay, and now we're going to stack these kind of in opposite order. I have face cards on top, number cards on top over here. Now, since we both seen the cards, why don't we go ahead and just kind of randomize them a bit. This is called a triangle deal. So those are pretty well scrambled, I think. Try and get my words out. Okay. Now at this point, you can decide how to stack these. And all of the choices that I show you are genuine choices, and the shuffles that I'll show you in a minute, you can perform those shuffles once or 1,000 times. You truly, truly can. That is no exaggeration. So if the spectator wants you to do 5 of one and 3 of one and 7 of another, you can do it, and it will not undermine anything we hope to accomplish. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so how would you like these stacked to begin? Left on right? Okay, so here comes the mixing where the spectator is going to sound in. Why don't we just begin with the lowly left-right shuffle. Would you like left on right or right on left? Right on left? Okay, very good. Would you like to do another one? You would. Okay, so just know that you can do as many of these as you like. Truly give the spectator the choice to do that. You want left on right this time? Okay, very good. We can deal out into 4 piles with stacking from left to right, right to left, or something called leapfrog stacking that I've shown on my channel. You want right to left, no leapfrog. Okay, that's fine. Would you like to do one more of those? You would. Okay. But you can do 50 more of these if you have the patience. You can do as many as you like. You like left to right? Would you like to do leapfrog? Have you seen that before? It's kind of a fun one. You do. Okay, so this one leaps over its neighbor, lands there. This one leaps over its neighbor, lands there. How would you like these stacked? Right on left? Okay, very good. We can even deal out into 8 piles, which is pretty crazy if you think about how the cards are being moved about here. Would you like the top row on top of the bottom or vice versa? Bottom on top? Okay. How should we stack these? Left to right, right to left, or leapfrog? Right to left, leapfrog. Okay, so you're kind of warming up to the idea of the leapfrog, huh? Left on right? Is that okay? Very good. We could do more of those, but hopefully you feel like, okay, that's enough. But if you wanted more, we could do more. We can do what's called an even up jog. Some people, or many people, call it an out jog. I think I'm the only one that calls it an up jog, but oh well, there you go. Would you like right on left or right on left? Okay, we can do 3 more of those or no more of those. Okay, just know that. The shuffle that is the most destructive that I've ever met and that I'm aware of as far as a systematic shuffle is the one we're performing right now. It's called the Australian down under. Okay. So down, under, and the last one goes on top. We could do another one of those or 5 more of those, whatever you would like. No more of those? Okay. And then why don't we do a pharaoh? This one's kind of a fun one. I might take a little bit of practice. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8 cards. That's half of the cards. And then what you do is you perfectly interlace the cards. Now technically one interlacing leads to a pharaoh in, and the other one leads to a pharaoh out, but either one's fine. So we could do 2 more of those or 5,000 more, okay? But I don't think you'll want to do any more of those right now. You want to get to the fun part here. I'm just doing a Klondike here. So we're just making sure that these cards, if anyone was following even just one card, there's no way that they even know where the one card is anymore, let alone all 16. Okay, and then we'll follow it up with a left-right, a final left-right. How would you like these stacked? Left on right? Okay, now at this point what we're going to do is I'm going to just deal out half the cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now we're going to do something that is just honestly never done in card magic unless you have a cyclic construction that you're working with. Now if you think about the mixing that we've done, there's no way on this green earth this packet was cyclic before I just dealt out the top 8. It's not. It can't be. It's not possible. But nonetheless, we're going to do something that's equivalent to a riffle shuffle. Okay, and normally when you see something like this, 99% of the time the Gilbreth principle is involved, but it can't be here because it's not cyclic. The Gilbreth principle won't help in any way whatsoever. We're using a very different principle, actually. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to deal out cards for you, cards for me. Okay, so you have your cards over there. Yours are going off the camera. Sorry about that. Okay, that's your pile. This is mine. Okay, now we're finally to the interesting part of this whole experiment here. What I'm hoping to show you is that I've been able to develop a degree of sensitivity in dealing with cards that I can actually detect the difference between a face card and a number card. And that's for the simple reason that face cards have tremendously more ink on them. Okay, so technically they actually weigh more because of that ink saturation. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll take my card here, and then this is your top card. Okay, now I need to look at my card to know, whether it's a face card or a number card, and that will give me a chance to be able to compare it against yours and make a correct conclusion from it. Okay, so I know what mine is. I'm just trying to figure out, is yours heavier or lighter than mine? Okay, I think yours is definitely heavier. Okay, well because what I know here, that means this would have to be a face card. Yep, it is indeed. Very good. Okay, why don't we try that for 3 of them? Why don't we just jump to kind of a harder case here? So 3. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just take a look at the distribution of cards among mine. How many face cards or number cards I have, so that I can make a fair comparison here. Okay, so let me just get a feel for this. Okay, I'm feeling that you actually have fewer face cards than I do. I'm thinking you have 1 face card and 2 number cards. Is that right? Oh, it is indeed. I got that one right. Oh, boy, was I lucky. Okay, why don't we do 3 again? So those are my 3, and then we'll have yours 3 over here, and we'll compare them in a second. Let me just see what mine is so that I know what I'm comparing here. Okay, now I have mine. Let me pick up yours. Let's see what I can sense here. Oh, boy. Oh, wow, this is really hard. Okay, I think I think I'm still pretty confident. Yours is heavier. I believe you have 2 face cards and just 1 number card. Is that right? Oh, it is indeed. Oh, okay, now down to the last ones here. Okay, well, let me look at mine, even though the last one could be deduced by how many cards we had at the beginning. But nonetheless, I want to see if it agrees with what I would have said. Oh yeah, I would have said yours was a face card. And it is. Okay, so maybe that's not a surprising thing if you are aware of how many face cards total and number cards. Okay, but the first 3 weighings, boy, were we successful. I can't believe we pulled that off. Okay, so how is this done? Am I actually feeling the weight of the cards? Well, I don't think so. I suppose if you had a fine enough scale, maybe there is actually a difference. Maybe there could be some truth to my narrative, possibly. I'm not sure. Okay, so why don't let's go back in time. Let me just show you what we're doing and how I was able to do that with 100% confidence. Now you can modify this narrative, by the way, okay? In fact, I do want to just mention a gripe I guess I have. Sometimes people complain about the narrative that I choose for a certain effect. Well, that's not my focus, guys. My focus is to discover new mathematical principles that can be used in the realm of card magic. I'm not so interested in becoming a consummate narrator and storyteller for card effects, okay? So you could probably outdo any of the performances that I've done once you know that certain principles will work for you, and those are the things I'm bringing to you. You can create your own, and they'll probably be far superior to mine, and that's just fine. I mean, all of us have finite time and resources, okay? So mine is focused on mathematics primarily. Okay, and this is a mathematical effect here. It uses Quasi-Bessey Sequences of Order 16. That's what it does. Okay, so let me just show you a kind of bird's eye view of what we're doing, and I'll show you how we'll get there. Okay, so the structure that is impervious to many of the systematic mixing procedures used today, the one that has the greatest degree of invariance is a Bessey sequence, but those are of order 2 to the n, where n is an odd number. But quasi-Bessey sequences still have tremendous invariance to them, and that's what we're taking advantage of. Okay, so we're going to organize these cards in such a way that we can do all of the mixing that I showed you and much, much more. I've only shown you the tip of the iceberg. I didn't want to bore you with 5 billion different ways to mix the cards and not hurt the cards. So I've shown you some of the main ones that people seem to like or are able to do. Okay, so this structure that we're going to take advantage of is a mathematical structure I discovered just 2 or 3 years ago, I guess. So it's called a Quasi-Bessey sequence, order 16, because there's 16 cards. Okay, so we'll come back to this structure and we'll show you how, with that we've actually put it in this arrangement. Okay, but where we start is 2 sets of 4 face cards, 2 sets of 4 number cards. Now it is important. This is important. So one of the piles needs to have the face cards on top. The other pile needs to have the number cards on top. That's essential. If you don't do that, it won't work. We won't be able to do what we're hope to do here. Now, what we're going to do is, for each of these, we're going to do this triangle deal, which I've shown before. This is a dealing of the cards that Werner Miller, one of my subscribers, discovered, or you can say invented, I guess, that converts the packet that we just had to a Bessey sequence of order 8. Okay? And so what does that mean? Well, it essentially means it has the structure like a number card, 2 face cards, a number card, then a face card, 2 number cards, and then a face card. So I'll even show you the intermediate structure there. And now you do the same thing for this one. We're going to convert it to a Bessey sequence of order 8. Okay. Now we just do it under the guise of scrambling the cards, and if you show the spectator these cards, they're going to think they're mixed, right? They're not going to see the structure that I'm pointing out to you unless they stared at it for a very long time. Okay, now it ends up that if you just do what I've done so far, you can randomly stack these. This is now a Quasi-Bessey sequence of order 16. Okay, so it really does. Can I go underneath here? Maybe I can't. Okay. It really does have this structure. Okay, so maybe we'll show zeros and ones if you want to see those as well. So what we're looking for is a face, right here, face card, 2 number cards, face card, number card, 2 face cards, a number card, followed by a number card, 2 face cards, and a number card, and then a face card, 2 number cards, and a face card. So it's the same structure as we have up here with these assignments. So this is technically a Bessey sequence, Quasi-Bessey sequence of order 16. Sorry about that. And so this is going to be protected from so many of the common systematic shuffles we do. Okay, in card magic or in card gambling or card playing of any sort. So standard left-right, random stack. And then you can deal out into 4 piles with stacking from left to right, right to left, or leapfrog. You can deal out into 8 piles. And in fact, you can go 8 piles in a row, if, like this. And you can do left to right stacking, right to left, or leapfrog. Or you can do what I did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then put the bottom on top of the top, or vice versa, and then stack from left to right, right to left, or leapfrog. You can do an even or odd up jog, strip those out, randomly stack the 2 halves. You can do a down under, down under, down under, an Australian shuffle, as many of those as you like. You can do a Pharaoh shuffle, which is the one I did. You break it in half and then interlace them perfectly. So that's just a few of the shuffles you can do. It won't harm this, okay? I had somebody come to the door and I had to answer it, and I could not remember exactly where I was in the explanation here. So since the video is still recording. Okay, so we're going to pick it up. Okay, I mentioned that this is the Quasi-Bessey sequence. I believe we've put it in that order, right? And then didn't we do quite a bit of mixing? I did a left, right, or at least talk through the mixing. Right, you can do a left, right into 4 piles, 8 piles, up jog, Australian down under, a Pharaoh, right? Do you remember that? Okay. Okay, so maybe we'll pick up from there. And then I said, okay, from that point, so after we've done the mixing in which the spectator's sounding in on how to do things, we do a Klondike shuffle, okay, which is one that, we hadn't done earlier, right? So it ends up that if you do a Klondike shuffle followed by a left-right shuffle like this, with random stacking decided by the spectator, so maybe they want right on left, that's fine, okay? Now, the Klondike followed by the left-right, followed by now a dealing out of half the cards, which is what we need anyway, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 3 actions together is essentially a 50% cut of the Quasi-Bessey sequence of order 16. And that's what we needed to do, okay? So instead of doing the Klondike, LR, and then this dealing, what you could have done is just pushed off the top 8 cards, set down the bottom cards as the other half, and then go into the Rosette, if you want to cut out those steps. I just didn't want it looking kind of suspicious as to why was I pushing off the top 8 cards. Normally you don't do that. That's a bit weird. So I decided to do the sequence Klondike, LR, random stacking, and then it allows me to deal 8 cards to the table. And now these come by way of just an ordinary 50% cutting. Okay, so it's a way to get around a 50% cutting that might look a little like weird. Okay, like why did you push off 8 cards? Okay, now we're free to, now it ends up that if you Riffle shuffle, or equivalently Rosette shuffle, a Quasi-Bessey sequence that's been broken in half like this one, it has a predictable structure to it. So let me just show you here a write-up. Okay, so after the Rosette shuffle, this packet now, it will consist of the following. This is the top card, card 1, 2, all the way to the bottom card, card 16. So among the top 2 cards, there will be a face card and a number card, but we won't know the order. But we do know there's a face card and a number card there. We also know there's a face card and number card at the bottom. Okay, and then so after the first 2 cards, the next 6 will consist of 3 face cards and 3 number cards. The next block of 6, it will be the same thing. 3 face cards, 3 number cards. Okay, well, what does that allow you to do? Well, if you left-right deal this packet, what that means on the bottom level, when you deal those, that bottom card for the spectator and the bottom card for you, between the 2 of you, you will have 1 face card and a number card. Now the next 3 cards in each of your piles, so a total of 6 cards, will consist of 3 face cards and 3 number cards. The next 6 after that, same thing, 3 face cards, 3 number cards. And then the very top card for each pile will be either a face card or number card. Okay, so if you think about it, now that I know that, I can deal out 1 to you, because we just out left, right, this. Okay, just like that. Okay, very good. And so what we know to be true is that these two, the one will be a face card, one will be a number card. We won't know which is which. Okay, so the narrative I came up with, and you can come up with a completely different one. You could use like a lie detection narrative. You could have them look at their card while you look at yours, and they state what their card is, supposedly. Is it a number or face card? Well, you'll know if they're lying or not, right? Because you see a number card here, that means there must be a face card. Okay, so that's another way to do it if you don't want to do this supposed weighing of the cards, that their face card's a little bit heavier than our number card, you know. So that's the way I decided to frame it this time, but you can frame it differently if you like. Okay, so these will be one of each. And then what I said was, you know, right over here as well, right up. The next 3 for them and 3 for us. Among these 6 cards, there will be 3 number cards and 3 face cards among those 6. Okay, so if by just looking at your card, the composition of your cards, you know with certainty that they must have 2 face cards and 1 number card. Okay, so let's just show you that. So 2 face cards and 1 number card. Okay, and so the way I did it was, supposedly my packet, because it has fewer face cards, is lighter than yours. So yours is heavier, you know, so you must have 2 of them. Okay, so there you go there. And then we took 3 more, right? So we took 3 more like that. And then once I know what mine are, see, so what would theirs have to be? So remember, the next set of 3 have 3 face cards, 3 number cards. Well, I have 2 face cards. They must have the remaining 1. And so they must have 2 number cards. And they do, right? 2 number cards and a face card. Okay. And then the very bottom ones, I mean, technically these could be deduced by just knowing my card, right? Because we know there's 8 face cards and 8 number cards. But anyway, these will be opposite, right? So theirs is a number card and ours is a face card. Okay, so that is the secret. It uses Quasi-Bessey Sequences of Order 16. And there's a lot of magic going on with this, because once it's in this structure, you can mix it to wazoo and it won't hurt it. And then you can actually perform a riffle shuffle, a free riffle shuffle, or a Rosette shuffle is equivalent, with the 2 halves. If you just break this structure into 2 halves, okay, you can just do it directly by pushing off the top 8 if you want. Rosette shuffle those, and then it's guaranteed to have this structure in the end, which is absolutely amazing. Okay, so from here, knowing the identity of your cards in your pile, you'll be able to perfectly deduce what their cards must be. So anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you. It's using a lot of brand new ideas. Quasi-Bessey Sequences of Order 16. I'll add a link in the description below that talks about Bessey sequences and Quasi-Bessey sequences. But it's a recent discovery for me that you can actually riffle shuffle these Bessey sequences and Quasi-Bessey sequences. It is true you need to cut the packets in half to do that. But a predictable structure results from doing that. And it's, in the case of 16 cards, it's this structure right here. Okay? So anyway, I hope you enjoy that. Hopefully it doesn't seem too complicated. And you can cut out some of the mixing that I did, you know, the randomization that we did with the spectator asking for different things. Okay, you can just do 2 of those instead of 4 or 5 different ones. So anyway, thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.